name is Bryan Smith. I'm chairman of the board of trustees here at John A. Coleman Catholic High School. My presentation, I'd ask that you save your questions to the end. We want to hear from you and have made plenty of time to do so. If we can't get you the answer this evening, we will get back to you as soon as possible with the answer. This is the agenda. I'm going to take you through my agenda here. So, this is the 18th annual address for John A. Coleman High School. John A. Coleman has been operating as an independent Catholic school for 18 years. This is an important fact, since many people still believe that it's still operated by the Archdiocese of New York. We are very grateful to the Archdiocese for their contributions over the years and appreciate their support in our mission. Tonight, we wish to bring attention to some very important changes that have taken place over the last 6 months. As you're aware, Mr. Lyons retired as principal at the end of the last school year. The board immediately started a principal search committee to find our next leader. As this search progressed, we decided to try a new concept, an interim co-principal position. As a result, we are extremely fortunate to find both Marie and Helen Anderson, no relation, for this interim post. If there was someone looking down on us, it couldn't have happened at a better time. We found two of the most dedicated, experienced, caring educators around. Marie and Ellen recently agreed to stay on officially as the co-principals of John A. Coleman Catholic High School. Later on this evening, you will get a chance to meet them even more, and you'll see what I'm referring to. Another area that we need to address with immediate attention is our infrastructure and technology. The school was built in 1968, and as you can see in some areas on this property, we need some attention. Same with our technology. Through the efforts of the board and faculty, we developed a new technology plan which we began implementing at the beginning of the school year, which has resulted in better connectivity, faster response time, better software, and a professional support team. This needed to be done, no matter what the cost. We've already seen the benefits from this upgrade. Our lighting, both inside and outside the school, is inadequate. Through a grant, we were able to work with Central Hudson. We completed a total overhaul of our lighting. This grant paid for 75% of a $100,000 project. We will see the payback in less than 2 years for this upgrade. We will discuss other needed improvements to this school later in this presentation. Our school, like many others in this region, faced challenges. The school's leadership team and the board want to be very clear with a message this evening. We firmly believe we will remain a presence in this community. We firmly believe we have a team that will continue to bring quality education to your children and prepare them for the future that lies ahead for them. We need your help. We need your help in spreading the message that John A. Coleman High School is a great asset to this community. We are facing the same challenges that a lot of our local private schools are dealing with today. Obviously, the most is enrollment. Today, we have 108 students here at Coleman. The downsizing of several large employers over the years in this area was a major blow to our community and to our schools. But we survived. And through the efforts of the Coleman fraternity and the community, we are alive. You will hear later from a few students, and I ask you to listen to their stories. These students represent what Coleman stands for. I challenge every one of you to find a better representation of a student to lead us into the future than what you're going to hear today. The last item I want to discuss with you this evening, obviously, is our fundraising here at the school. The money we're looking to raise is to support a variety of important areas: education programs, sports, the arts, theater, and of course, infrastructure. We all know the task of increasing enrollment is difficult, but it's a must. I'm currently working to obtain an individual to take on a role as a fundraising director. Obviously, this costs money. I use an old saying, and I believe it's true today, and folks on the board are probably tired of hearing me say it, but I'm going to say it again tonight. You need to spend money to make money. Trust me, I don't want to spend any more money than we need to. I've spoken to Rask College for a possible intern in their marketing and communications curriculum. They have juniors and seniors that are seeking intern positions as part of their studies. The idea is to bring someone in with a skill set, motivation, and the passion to achieve our goals. This is going to be a win-win for all. In the summer, we plan on hopefully getting more finalized information on this when the graduates are done, but this is something that we need to do. In conclusion, I want to thank you all for attending this evening. After hearing the rest of this presentation, I hope you come out of this evening with a better understanding of what John A. Coleman Catholic High School means to us all. We ask for your continued support. We ask for your prayers for this year and for the years to follow. I am now going to turn this presentation over to Travis Rask, who Travis has joined our finance committee 6 months ago, 8 months ago. Travis is an alumni of Coleman. He's a CPA here in Kingston, and he is unbelievable. He's made things a lot easier to understand for all of us, and we're very proud to have him as part of our team. Travis?
As we get to our presentation, we're going to talk about the annual budget. As you can see here, we have our budgeted income and our budgeted expenditures. Our main portions of the budgeted income, of course, is tuition and fees, as well as our fundraising portion of this presentation. Fundraising, of course, is something that we'll touch on a little bit later on, but those are our main sources of income at this point. Of course, you can see program activities, miscellaneous grants, and some other things as well to make up the total income. If you look at our expenditure side of things, we see our salaries and benefits, of course, take up the most of that, 68%. After that, you're looking at operations. Operations include repairs and maintenance, as well as different utility bills and things along those lines. You can see also our program activities are more on the expense side than what we're bringing in for income, which is a good thing. That's something that we all want. We want to see us spend more money on programs for students than we're taking in, so that's a good thing. And administration as well kind of just goes over our marketing and different professional fees that we get into. Next slide. You can see that our expenses per student for 2018-2019. As you can see, our left side of things is what we need to be at. Our right side is where we actually are. So if you want to look at it and do those totals, you're looking at per student, you're looking at about an $11,000 a year budget that we're looking at, whereas we currently only pay about $7,000. So of course there's a little bit of a shortfall there, about $4,000 per student. So in a sense, you can look at it by saying each one of your students is here already on a scholarship, because these funds need to come from other places. And of course, like we discussed in the previous slide, that's coming from your fundraising efforts, as well as different miscellaneous grants that we can perform. Moving to the next slide, you're going to see our tuition history. So this is our last 10 years of tuition history. As you can see, we started at $6,000, we're sitting at $7,000. So that's only an increase of about $100 a year. That's really not that much money considering, which is why this year we're proposing an increase in tuition of about $50 a month. We think that's a marginal increase, something that everyone should be able to handle in the future. And it will help with our shortfall that we're kind of currently sitting in.
Continue. Thank you, Travis. Really help us cover a lot of our expenses. These are just a few of our key fundraising efforts. I'm going to save the top one actually for last. We have the wine and cheese that will be coming up. That's a big fundraiser for us. We're looking to raise, our budget is $21,000. The Spirit Walk here at the school is $8,000. The golf tournament, which will be in July, that's $8,000, and I'm going to say we're going to be closer to $10,000. The The craft fair is another large one, that's 20,400. The annual fund, a lot of people probably haven't heard that word in a while, because we haven't done it. We reinstituted the annual fund. We had an effort, about a month ago, where we got board members, committee members, students, faculty, and we spent an afternoon stuffing envelopes, and most of you probably got one of my letters. We have in our budget $100,000 for annual fund. We've already received $18,000 in like 2 weeks. So we are off and running. I like to shoot high. I'm trying to raise $500,000. That's my goal. Whether we get there or not, but you shoot high, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to send a second round of letters out to people that, maybe we got wrong addresses. But the annual fund is something that, back in my days when I was here, and probably some of you folks when you were here, that was part of the culture here, an annual fund. And it just kind of lost its way. Well, we're bringing it back. And we've already talked, I've already got calls from a few alumni in my class era that are more than happy to have it. So hopefully the message will get out and we will see this number increase. But we're excited for 2 weeks to get that kind of response. So the annual fund is something that is going to be part of this marketing communications project that I'm trying to put in place for this year, next year. Because that's going to be what gets us over the edge for all the things we need to do, which will probably lead into my next chart. Infrastructure upgrades. Technology. We contracted through a company called Vicom, which is a subsidiary of IBM. Brought them in. They spent several months here doing an analysis of our IT here. And what they found was it wasn't critical. They gave us a recommendation, and obviously these things cost money. We were able to find some money to do it. We rewired pretty much this whole school. The school has many dead spots. I don't think there are anymore. Hopefully they're not. If they are, we're finding them. But the connectivity in the school
I
was
found one
poor.
today.
It was poor.
It's a well-built building.
We had a contractor here that was our IT support person. We were able to, through this company, land a professional off-site that when we have a problem, we call into them and they respond. Karen and the team, we find it a major change in the way that the students, the faculty use the IT, and we're not done. We bought some equipment that we're able to finance and lease over a 3-year period to keep the price down. So we're doing these things, obviously, with cost in mind, but once again, these are things that if we need, we're going to stay where we need to be, we need to do these things. Interior lighting, like I mentioned, Central Hudson came in and did an energy audit, and this school hasn't probably been touched in 30 years. All new lighting, high energy, efficient lighting, inside and out. The only thing we haven't done yet are the poles. That's on our list to do. But all the facing lights and inside lights, all these lights here are high energy, low efficient, that we will see the $22,000, $23,000 that cost us, we will see that return in 2 years or less. So it was another thing that we had to do. Boiler maintenance. We have a dinosaur. Probably 1968 when they built this building. That's probably when the boiler went in. To replace that boiler, we're being told is anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. Well, we don't have that kind of money. So we are repairing it. These repairs so far this year, I want to guess the number's probably close to $100,000 in repairs to a boiler. We did a conversion several years ago from gas to oil, back and forth. When oil is cheap, we're able to flip to oil, vice versa. Going back and forth creates problems. And we had some problems, but they're fixed right now, I think. At least we hope so.
Well, we're coming out of winter. So.
Coming out of winter. Building security, big topic. And it's one that we really need to address, and we are addressing it. We hired a security guard in the evenings. A lot of events going on here at night. Your children are walking to basketball games, to the parking lots, events here. We hired a young man who's doing a phenomenal job. He works after hours, I think 4 to 7, something like that. And having his presence here, he's probably here tonight walking around. It's fantastic, just the presence of that has made a difference. Security cameras. We are in the process of seeking some grants for some upgrades to our cameras. Everything is fine, the cameras are good, but like anything else, technology changes tomorrow. So we're looking at getting new cameras, put more cameras if we need them. Also, our lock system on our doors. If you notice, if you try to come here in the afternoons, you got to buzz in. The old days, you just walked in. So we're conscious of our security efforts. Driveway and repaving. I'm sure. I figured I'd get a comment before even. There's not much to say other than what you saw when you drove in. I will tell you that we're aware of it, and we have 2 bids right now, but we can't do anything until June. We can't do anything until school is out, and the reason being is it's a 2 to 3 week project. They're going to rip it up, do the whole thing from scratch. It hasn't been done God knows when. The other issue of waiting to June is you can't have both lanes blocked off for security. Fire, ambulance, so it's got to be synchronized. So the best time to do this is after school. So we're going to talk, we have 2 bids, we haven't decided on which one yet, they're both very similar. We're going to make a decision probably in the next month which one we're going to go with. And I'm hoping that maybe the firm that we go with, we bring them in and say, hey, look, can you do something temporarily to fill them, or at least the major ones, just to get us to June? Because we've got sports coming in, we got theater coming up, and it's an eyesore. I mean, people see that, and I would wonder what they're thinking about this place. But it's on our minds. We talk about it every meeting, and so we're going to take care of it. Obviously, it costs a lot of money. And one thing about this board and this administration, there is no hidden agendas. This is a $175,000 job, which is a lot of money. We're going to raise that money to do it. So we got some time, but that's something that we're going to take care of. Is this you? This is you?
What Coleman High School means to me. And I have a history here. Back in 1983, I came here. I was hired by Sister Catherine Gormley the week before school opened to teach chemistry, and I was here for 15 years. And in addition to chemistry, I taught earth science, and I taught physics 1 year, and I was highly involved with life here at Coleman High School. I loved every single minute of it. And my reason for leaving was because I had 2 daughters that needed to go to college, and I needed to be able to support them in that effort. But I have been in public school for an extensive time. Coleman is my private school experience, except for my elementary training in a Catholic school. And I've loved every school I've worked in. I love the work, I love what I do. But there's something about Coleman High School that I have experienced before and again that I have not felt in other places. And it's not a tangible thing. It's a feeling. It's something that's missing in other places that is not missing here. And we see it in our staff. We see it in our students. I think the Lord has blessed our halls, and it just kind of is transferred to everyone that comes into the building. So this past fall, we revised our mission, and we did this as a staff, inspiring the courage to lead and a commitment to serve. And teenagers, it doesn't really come naturally for teenagers to lead or to serve. If you live with them at home, you know what I'm talking about. But I think when we place teenagers in an environment that nurtures the heart and challenges the mind, we get amazing results. We get leaders. We get young people that are ready to be the citizens that we have trained them to be. So we can, I have a slide here that lists all the things that we have. We don't really want to talk about the things that we have because you can read that on the profile page that's in the back. For our parents, you know your children are involved in many of these things. But Ellen and I both feel that we need to talk about who we are and what we are, and how we have young people that are good. There's goodness in Coleman High School that is seen in respect, that's reciprocated, student to student, student to staff. There's a ability to be oneself, to be the person you are and know who you are, but still belong to a community and be part of that community. And a parent that is here tonight and shared with me that she didn't want her child to be just okay in a public school. Don't we want what is better than okay? We want our kids to excel. We want them to be the best that they can be and to be ready to take on those challenges of the future. And I believe that we do that here at Coleman High School. Ulster County needs a school. It needs to be, and it's an important option. We have agreed to stay on because we're committed to the redirection, and we have had to redirect. And you know, a big ship in the ocean does not turn on a dime. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes creativity, it takes commitment. But I do believe that we're here to do God's work, and we need to continue. We need his message now more than ever. And my co-principal is really the spiritual side of this arrangement.
But my first experience as Coleman was looking in a septic tank. This is a first for me. Went home telling my husband, okay, so the guy's saying to me, because we had a little trouble with the septic, it had to be pumped, everything's fine, gallons and gallons. Lady, come here, look over here. So, I'm in the septic tank now. I'm in water, I hope. And he's showing me how the thing works, and I'm like, this looks good, let's inspect it. Went home, threw out those shoes, that was the end of the septic. But 18 or 19 years ago, I was in a car on my way to Coleman. I was an administrator at a Catholic high school in Dutchess County, and we were asked by the Archdiocese of New York to take a ride up to Coleman this evening. They were talking about closing the school. And would we go up there as administrators, mind you, from another school, to offer some help, to give them a hand in the evening that was to be ahead of them. And some of you may have been there. My experience driving up to this campus in a car from Dutchess County was to see students lined up along this driveway, holding candles in silence. And for me, I said to my colleagues, these people are not going to let this school die. We should be asking them what they are doing to have children love their school as much. So for me to walk in this school, the love is in the bones of this building. And when folks say there's something very special going on here, it's very difficult to put words to that. It's a feeling. It's the police officer who walks in this building on a fairly daily, a few of them, on a fairly daily basis, and asks us, what's tuition here? When the police officer who goes to schools throughout this county is asking about his own children coming to Coleman, you know, that says a lot. When teachers and administrators in this area send their kids here, they choose Coleman for their own children. That's also the kinds of things that you basically look for. So I am always looking at what defines a positive school culture. Now, Marie told me I have 2 minutes. I've never said anything in 2 minutes, but I'm going to really try to focus in on some of the things that I believe are amazing and special at this school. First, to have a positive school culture, you need to have a sense of belonging. Children need to feel connected and that they belong. So you look for that in kids. You make sure you have something for everybody to thrive, to grow, to become their best selves. But isn't that what God wants from all of us? So there was a father here the other day. He was working in the building. And I don't have a history with the families that are here, to tell you the truth, but I recognize love when I see it. And this dad was telling Sister and I, and Mrs. Paisley, a couple of other people, with tears in his eyes, about the success, and Yura Gonzalez was there, about the success of his son. That he blossomed here. That he learned who he was here. That he didn't know he could sing, but all of a sudden, he's in theater. He didn't know he was bright, but became a valedictorian. Is in med school right now. But the man couldn't say thank you enough, which I personally had nothing to do. But to witness that with pure love and sincerity is an amazing thing to see. That happens here on a pretty regular basis, where our alumni fund, now we're asking if you'd like to dedicate any of the money or remember anybody that you're, when you're giving this money. It's teachers who are being remembered. It's names of people who are no longer with us, many of them, but who taught in this school, who have made a difference in the lives of these kids. That's when you know you have a positive school environment where kids are safe. One, kids don't learn when they're stressed. Stress blocks learning. They have to feel safe. They have to feel nurtured and connected. Those are 3 things that we look for. So some kids want to eat alone, but you look for that kid who is eating alone to make sure that's what they want. And you do it very self. You cannot hold them out at all. This is what we do all our lives, about 40 years, both of us, doing this work, and we have children. So we do know. It's also a place where people, children, connect with caring adults. And it crosses generations. So a perfect example of that is it has to do with trust. Because trust takes time, and trust is the glue that holds communities together. So Sister Elizabeth, who's our guidance counselor, has a board in outside her hallway where she's writing what schools are coming to visit. University of Notre Dame, I always have to plug Notre Dame. All kinds of schools on her board. So when I walked by that board yesterday, the message was, Sister, please find me. I need to talk to you. On the board. That's when you know in a building. She didn't care that everybody read that board, and you can bet Sister went and found that kid. And took care of that. It was there for everyone to read. So that's trust, folks. That's knowing it's allowed. It's also trust to know that kids are allowed to make mistakes. I have mellowed in my old age. I was a dean for about 12 years. It's the worst job you can have, but I think it's the most important one, and it teaches so much about patience and understanding. And correction is respectful, and correction provides dignity to the point where you can get a kid to say, yeah, Mrs. Anderson, you got me, I did it. I have had experiences where parents have come in and I've said, not here, and I've said, so your son, it's great, he said he did it. I don't care what he said, he didn't do it. Sometimes you have those experiences too. I've never had that here. You catch a kid doing something, and we're looking for what's good, but it comes your way. All right, for your biggest problem in a school is a dress code violation, you're a lucky. I'm getting it, Marie. So, we watch parents drop their kids off to school. Yeah, sometimes they sit in the car for a while. So you know there's a conversation going on. And maybe you're catching up with your kid. And in the car is the best place to get them. Because they can't escape usually. Once in a while they do. But it's your moment with your son or your daughter dropping them off. And when I come to school, I get to hear about what you do because I live an hour away and I'm always like chugging down the thruway. So I'm arriving when you're arriving. And I hear the goodbyes. And I hear that I love you. You can get teenagers to say that, or you to them, and they respond, and not hide their head and run away. I know you're not going to walk outside the car and kiss somebody. But you're saying the right things when they come in knowing they are loved. They are your greatest treasure. And we know that, and say that, and think that every single day. You are out there in the cold at night waiting to pick them up. Some are getting off buses, and to be honest, their parents are working 3 jobs so that they can come here. So we're the ones in the morning seeing them and saying good morning, and could tell what kind of conversation went on in the car sometimes. That is a community that works together with one heart. You can call this school and say your child had a bad morning, and you can bet we're going to find that kid. We'll refer them over to Sister's board and say, Sister, please help me, find me. That does not happen everywhere. We don't take that for granted in any way, shape, or form. So, we are data informed, but we are mission-driven people. We take the information, but it is the mission of this school that is the most important thing that we can do. So, structure leads to order. Order leads to peace. Peace leads to harmony. Harmony leads to love, and love leads to God. And that's the structure of the school. That really is the reason that we are here, to bring children closer to God and lead us along the way. That's what makes us different. So we say prayer 2 times a day, officially. Teachers say prayer in their classroom. We start every single day praying for you. Parents, benefactors, those we love, our grandparents, our guardians. Every morning there's prayer and announcements, a lot of other things. At 1:50 every day, everything stops here, and we all, the whole entire community, says the peace prayer to St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. They know prayer. You could say that in the carpet. They know that prayer. It is powerful to get 16-year-olds to pray. And Sister said to me the other day, they know the prayer. So you then start assemblies with that prayer, and student council meetings with that prayer, and everything reverts back to, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. And don't we need to know, for them to know they need that prayer in this world today. So we have in the back for you the prayer. So at 1:50 every day, and I say this every time I get a chance to speak, please take that prayer with you. Stop what you're doing possibly at 1:50 and say the prayer in unity with all of us. So, and I'm finishing up. Every study I read talks about how children need to connect to the transcendent. Their brains are hardwired to connect to the transcendent, meaning God. That if children do not connect to God, they will be trying to fill that hole for the rest of their lives. So when you look at statistics on children and depression and anxiety and tendencies towards suicide, it's all connected to the transgender. So I really believe that's what we're here to do. And we take it very seriously. So seriously that we roll out the red carpet for kids here on the first day of school. Because every kid should know what that feels like. So on the first day of school, Cooper walked down that red carpet. He didn't want to. But we as teachers were there, we were playing music, and we clapped them into school. And we will do that as many times as it takes for them to feel that love for here and the connection for here. So, this is a little something and an exercise. This may help you for Lent. I know it helps me. I have children, grandchildren now, and I don't know how you let kids go to college if you don't believe the rest of mothers sitting on their shoulder. I don't know how you sleep at night. So my children are grown out of college, but I have grandchildren now to pray for. So when I drive down this driveway now, there's not children standing there with candles. Yes, I'm driving around the potholes like everybody else. And I'm watching children get off buses and come into school. And this is the exercise, and you should try this for Lent. If you say to yourself, where would love have me go today? What would love have me do today? And what would love have me say when I get there? Try it. It helps when you're dealing with kids this age. It helps in general in life. It centers us to move ahead. So, it is a privilege for me to be here, to work here. I think the greatest thing you can do and see here is the happiness that these children exude. Teenage years are tough. They're not going to be happy all the time. But if they can express a thank you when they leave the door, these teachers have a vocation. These kids thank their teachers every day. They are equipped to work anywhere. They choose here. They believe in the mission of this school. And the kids thank them every day for being there for them. So I thank you for being here. You are showing the love just by being here for the school and your own children. And what's really important are the two students who will speak to us. So I thank you, and if you ever need anything here, please, Marie and I are certainly available. Poor Marie lives like around the corner. I live an hour away, so I don't get the call all the time from the septic anymore, but she does, and she's one of the smartest women, I have to tell you, that I've ever had the pleasure of working with. We never knew each other. She's a chemistry person. I'm history. It's opposite sides of the brain, totally. But we think it's working, right, Marie? It's working. So, speaking of working, there are two students that we asked to speak to you this evening, and we asked them to just answer this question: how has Coleman Catholic High School made a difference in your life? Now, I'm a little bit of a control freak, and I read things kids write before they present them. And I told her, let them do it on their own. So, I'm letting go.
I'm currently a senior here at Coleman, and Coleman's been a part of my life for a very long time, and I think just because of the fact that, okay, so I started in 4th grade. I was in my first show ever here at Coleman. Miss Hobson, who now is actually Director Matilda, she directed The Secret Garden here, and it was my first time being in a show, so not only did it help me come out of my shell just as a person, but it was my first time in this Coleman community. And it was at that moment that I decided I wanted to come here. And I ended up doing more of the theater productions just in middle school, and now that I'm here in high school, it's really just, it was what I always wanted to do since 4th grade, just come to Coleman. I think in a lot of ways what Miss Anderson and Miss A were saying about the small environment, it's really the small environment, the way the teachers care, it's college preparatory, all of those things that I'm sure you've heard before, but I think as a student I can really speak on the social aspect. And I think one of the first things I noticed just especially this year, is the way that in this environment, sure, okay, teenagers, they get moody sometimes, you know. It's like, I'm not trying to say that just because we go to Coleman, we're different than other teams, but I think that aspect of community really makes a difference in everyone's lives. I know in the fall, there were a couple senior boys that there was a freshman who was sitting alone at lunch, and they went over and they sat with him for like the whole week. They sat with him every day, and I just thought that was such a nice thing for them to do. And it's just something that I would have seen, I think, in another school, especially, I know, I'm sure Brandon can talk about this when he comes up because he came from Pine Plains, but I have friends in public schools, and they all feel like they need to be in their own little groups to stay together and be together and not have to associate with other people. But I think at Coleman here, sure, we all have our friend groups, but I think we all care about each other, and we don't want to see other people fail. We don't want to, you know, be mean to other people for the things that you get bullied for, I think, in a regular public school. I know just the other day I was at rehearsal for Matilda, and there was a freshman who, there's a lot of little kids, of course, it's Matilda, and one of the little girls was sitting alone, and she was saying, I'm always sitting alone, and this freshman girl who's in the show, she said, no, I'm gonna come sit next to you, and I'll come talk to you, and she sat with her for like a half hour while the rest of us were rehearsing, and I just thought that was so sweet, and something that I think really comes from this, like, a Coleman kid. I know the basketball teams, the track teams, and especially theater really integrates all the grades. So I've never seen any of the, you know, freshmen staying together or not being able to talk to any upperclassmen. I know seniors who are close friends with freshmen, and I, even personally, my brother's a freshman. I talk to his friends sometimes more than I talk to my own friends. It's so I think that's a really nice thing, especially even my chorus class. It's me and Brandon and another junior, and then a bunch of freshmen, and we all are really close with each other, and it's a really nice environment. I think, of course, the religious aspect is really nice in that respect. We don't just go to mass once a month and then forget about our religion the rest of the time. We always are praying, like they said, and I think even those that maybe aren't Catholic, or because there are some students that are of other faiths, they're very open to religion, and a lot of my friends, when they hear I go to like a Catholic school, they are surprised. They're like, oh, so you're like really religious, that's weird. I'm like, no, I think going to a religious school makes you more open to other faiths, and I have friends that are here that maybe are questioning, but they're so open to every faith, and I think it's really nice that you're able to just be yourself in that respect here. Overall, I think the biggest thing I've noticed at Coleman is the way students can really just be themselves. You don't have to fit in with a group. You can just be who you are, and everybody is accepting of that, and I think that's a really important thing with our close community that we have at Coleman. I think that's something that has really made a difference in my life. So many of us have been able to have leadership positions, especially I noticed this year I have friends in my own class that are very shy, and I could never even imagine when they were freshmen or when they were younger doing this, but in the fall on Spirit Day, everybody had to go up who was running to be a president or the treasurer or any office for student council, and they had to give a speech. And I was watching my friends who had barely spoken in years past standing up in front of the entire student body and giving a speech. And I think that's something that was so amazing that this nurturing community was able to help them get up the strength to do that. And now student council, of course, is always working on new projects and doing things for the students. And I think that's something so nice that they weren't just pushed to the side with like thousands of other kids in a public school. Our small community was able to help them really grow in that respect, and it was just so amazing to me to see the way that, not just in my own class, but just in general, the way students are able to become leaders or learn how to become more confident in that way. And I think overall, for me, that's been the way Coleman has made a difference in my life.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So thank you. As you heard, my name is Bryan Lawerance, and I'm also a senior. And Coleman has made a huge, impact. It's been a huge impact in my life. It's, really changed me for the better. And it means a lot more to me than I thought it ever would, and I really think my family ever thought it would. And it really hasn't offered just challenging and intriguing education, but it's offered me hope for the future. It gave me a place to turn to when I had nothing left, and it gave me back my happiness, my interest, and my sense of confidence that I lost during my years in the public school system. Growing up, I attended St. Joseph's in Millbrook, and that was kind of like the beginning of my sort of I guess, innocence and finding my friend group and having that, you know, kind of correlate and be the happy child I, you know, wanted to be. I made a group of friends that would stay by my side until, you know, 6th grade, the year that the Archdiocese closed my school. And that little school on the hill, as so many referred to it, was a place where my innocent childhood was allowed to stay pure, and where I made my best friends, and where the world seemed perfect, and where I'd leave it all behind as we went our different ways. The next 6 years saw my innocence stripped from me, from immature children who was exploited in terrible ways, and I slowly sunk into a world that was filled with hateful, two-faced, and self-centered, and just simply put, disrespectful people. And I eventually lost a sense of who I was. And I knew where I'd been, but I just couldn't be that same person. And I thought that this was just part of growing up. And I slipped through the cracks. My future, my happiness, and all that I previously worked so hard for was nearly lost. I then sat down and made the choice of my family that I needed to make a change. A change that ultimately turned me into the person that I am today. My transfer to Coleman was effortless, honestly. My family, myself included, felt at home, and I felt like we were accepted for the first time in a long time. Accepted. And I found people coming to me before I'd even transferred, you know, to Coleman, people from the track team, you know, who I had told that I was going to be coming. And, you know, I reached out, and even when I came to Shadow, I felt like I was already part of the family, part of the community. And I made connections, you know, just the first day that I was here. And that was something that I previously never really had since I left St. Joseph's. People just showed interest in who I was, and I found courses that I enjoyed, and I found myself understanding. And as shocking as it may sound, I enjoyed waking up at 6 o'clock every morning, driving an hour, or having my mom drive me, which I can't thank her enough for sacrificing, you know, all that. And staying, you know, afterwards for golf, play practice, track, or anything really that I, you know, would stay after for. And then driving back home at whatever hour, you know, it may be. And I don't do it because I want to, but I do it. I don't do it because I have to, but because I want to. The atmosphere here is like no other. And I mean, for example, I would have never thought that over just this summer, it was the students, myself included, who went and painted the upper floor and actually enjoyed doing it. You know, we didn't just do it for the service hours. You know, we actually really enjoyed doing something that, you know, I don't think a normal teenager would want to do, especially for, you know, the school community. And you know, my grades jumped 30 plus points back into the 90s where they used to be. And my prior self has returned. Coleman is much more to, you know, it's much more to me than just a school. It's a place where I can go to each and every member of the faculty and have a conversation with them, and I know that they're listening and that they care. I can go to both principals and, you know, give my opinion on how I believe the school could possibly be made better, as if I was to know. But I feel important here, and I feel like I'm allowed to be who I want to be. And Coleman, again, is just something far greater than the school. It's far greater than words that I can find just express. And the best that I can say to each and every one of you here tonight is just thank you. Thank you for everything you've done and will continue to do for me. Thank you for making these past 2 years quite possibly the greatest in my life. Thank you.
This is as important. Our future goals and some projections that, you know, we need to look at and where we're going to be going. Building enrollment, obviously, that is crucial to our survival. But we have a plan, which is good. You know, we promote school successes just like this. We institute shadow programs. We have our open houses. We advertise, but advertising isn't, it's our students that are our advertising. It's the families that are our advertising. And as I said in my beginning remarks, we need your help, and that's where you can help. You can spread the message and have someone who's on the fence about coming here, whether it's financial or they just don't think it's the right thing. What's the harm of coming out for a day and spending a day of shadowing, seeing what this place is really about? Because I think it's important. Networking with community educators and spiritual leaders. We need to do a better job of collaborating with the other private schools in this area, whether they're Catholic or wherever they are. Because I know there's some parents here tonight that are in those environments, and I think they will agree. We all have to work together. This is not something, it's not one school against the other. We're all here, we all have our own special thing, and you heard what Coleman is tonight. So we need to really exchange ideas with our middle schools. We need to really visit our middle schools, and we're doing that now. We're going out to our middle schools, we're talking to the educators there, we're talking to the students, we're inviting them here to share experiences here, participate in our events. And these are all, I think, once people come into this school, I think they're gonna say, wow, it's not what I expected. And that's what happened, you know. I was in public school, this is back many, many years ago, and I didn't want to come here. My grandmother made me a bet. She says, go for a year, and if you don't like it, you go back to, I went from Bailey to here. That was a big transition back then. She never heard me say anything after the first couple days. I spent 4 years, best 4 years of my life. Renew connections with community supporters. Alumni functions. Our alumni is starting to get back in the fold. We're holding, you know, we're contacting them, we're getting some feedback back from them, which is good, but we need to do more. We need to do more of that. We need to bolster, you know, our fundraising efforts. Back to what we said earlier. These are all things that are our goals and what we need to do. We need to participate in community events. Our students have a lot of service hours. They all do a lot of great things. We need to get them more involved in the community. Get them out so people can say, where are you from? I'm from Johnny and Coleman. Wow. Because I think once they see the kind of student that comes out of here, it's going to change a lot of minds. Last thing on here. This is not a fun one to finish up, but continuous upgrades to buildings and grounds. I'm not going to go over the paving anymore. That's, we know what we have to do. You know, we have to upgrade a lot of things here. We have to upgrade the track and the ball fields and the things that the kids are participating in. You know, the gym is in great shape. We have a fantastic gym. I'm sure there's probably things that can be done there, but we need to do more. You know, our boiler situation. You know, these are all sexy things to talk about, but we gotta fix these things. A couple things that we're looking at, and these are, you know, putting ideas and see if they stick to the wall kind of thing. You know, we have possibly some solar opportunities here. There's some solar grants out there. Being a private school, it's a fine line. You gotta get to the right person. Talk to a few politicians, and as soon as they hear it's a private Catholic school, it's like taboo. But there's got to be a way to latch into that niche of solar, because it could help us and it could help everyone. So that's something we're looking at. And the last thing, which is kind of an off-the-wall thing, but we always talk about it, utilization of our third floor. Some of you people don't even know maybe there's a third floor here. That's where the nuns used to, when we were here, that's where the nuns stayed. They have their rooms up there, kitchen, they have a beautiful library. It's empty. Now, unfortunately, the Archdiocese owns the building. We're a tenant. So we have to be careful. We have to talk to them and see, can we utilize that third floor in a way that could bring us in some revenues? Camps, summer camps. There's a whole host of things that we could do with that upstairs, but we've got to get permission to do it. So these are all things that, you know, are on our agenda, and they may, you know, take some time, but we haven't lost sight of it. And I'm hoping maybe at the end you'll have questions of other ideas that we can do, because we're open for anything. I mean, you know, we rent out the gym, we rent out the ball fields. You know, we're doing everything possible to sustain a school here. And like I said, we're alive. No doubt about it. Can we use some help? Absolutely. So that's the message. I hope this meeting tonight gave you a different perspective of the school. If it didn't, well, you know, maybe you know well enough, but it's a great place, and it's going to continue to be a great place. So I want to end with questions. Like I said, if we can't get you the answer tonight, we will get you the answer. All right? The board is here. We're here to listen. We don't like to do a lot of talking, well, obviously I do. But we're here to listen to you folks, and please, nothing is off the table. So, I'll open it up.